Hello and welcome to Levels Plus Whenever, episode 172. So, it's been a while. I'm even using my phone to record this because my webcam broke at the end of March. So, I need to buy a new one. So we'll be using the phone for a little bit as necessary. But hi! We're going to talk about Resident Evil Requiem today. I've got a pickup even related to it. A brand new Biohazard 30th anniversary shirt. I'll move it a tiny bit closer, but again, probably won't see it super great. So I'll turn this light on. There we go. Alright, the pickups continue. Since we were just talking about Resident Evil, let's go ahead and spotlight the Ada Nendoroid I just got. I've got her kind of set up to be running. It'll be a nice contrast with Stoic Leon up here. And I'll find a home for her, probably not too far from him at some point. I've also gotten UFO 50 and Pragmata. Haven't tried either of those yet, but looking forward to it. And I've got one more pickup to add to this tomorrow. Alright, the other pickup I've gotten is this Rosalina amiibo from Mario Galaxy. She's freaking enormous compared to most of the other amiibo, but she's really well detailed. Her storybook even has one of the pages, which I think is really sick. Really nice. Very impressed with this one. Okay, let's get to the main content of this video. Well, it's finally time to talk about Resident Evil Requiem. I beat it about a month and a half ago. And I do have to say that in terms of the modern Resident Evils following 6 that have reshaped what the franchise looks like, I think that this is easily the best of them for me personally. And I think that it is a very fitting 30th anniversary game for the franchise as a whole. And I'm going to break that down while we hang out on the streets of Renwood. And just kind of chill with Grace for a little bit. So let's go ahead and dive into why I think this is one of the best Resident Evil games of all time. And why I think Requiem is very strong on most fronts. First of all, let's talk about Grace. Since Grace is here, we'll even rotate the camera a bit so we can see her face for a hot second. I think Grace is one of the best protagonists in this series ever. I love her very much, and I think that she really brings a new layer to the entire Resident Evil experience. Because she's just not a badass like most of the other characters have been. And I would even say that she's more relatable than Ethan, who was also in a similar status of just kind of being an every person stand-in type of character. He just was overused. I think that if he had stayed in 7 and his story ended there, he would be a stronger character. But because they decided to push his story harder in Village and just completely undermine everything that made him somewhat compelling in 7, I think they kind of wasted his time in the series. Grace, on the other hand, is a real character. She's not faceless. She actually has a face. And she has some of the best voice acting, facial expressions, reactions to things, and responding to chaos with the appropriate level of fright, terror, and tension that I think that she is just marvelous from start to finish. Her voice actress kills this role. Absolutely does some of the best voice work I've ever heard in a game. Period. And I think that she is just a delight to play as, learn about, discover who she is. I read her as neurodivergent, as I am also neurodivergent. I see similarities with myself in her that I really respect and appreciate. She's also very traumatized, as the game points out. I will keep spoilers to a relative minimum in this review, but I will say that her story arc is really, really rough on her. Everything that she has gone through to get to this point in the game, and then gets further pushed by the narrative beats in the story. I think that Grace is just a marvelous addition to Resident Evil, and I really hope this isn't the only game she's in. Unlike Ethan, I think that she has room to grow into something more. I don't feel that her story is quite complete yet. The flip side of the coin is Leon, and Leon, of course, is the badass of all badasses in Resident Evil, and basically is that in this game. And his voice actor, who's been the same across the 2 remakes and now this game, has delivered an incredible performance across those 3 games, showing so much development, growth, maturity. I love Leon in the modern games. I think that he is such the most improved character of all time in a lot of ways, with Nick at the helm. He's just so good and has really softened the 2000s misogyny elements that was in his character in RE4. That's not even there, and just shows the beautiful progression of a human being in these supernatural situations. I think that Leon in this game is a delight. He's gruff, still got a bit of a one-liner tendency, like he did in RE4, but I think that he also has the opportunity with Grace and with Sherry, which I don't think is a spoiler at this point, to really emote and feel the weight of all of the trauma he's gone through. This is a very responding to past traumas game, and I think that Requiem does a brilliant job handling that with its 2 main characters. The other really cool thing about having Grace and Leon is the dichotomy of their gameplay mechanics. So Grace is definitely more classic themed. She has more limited ammo. She has less general experience, so her aim is a lot worse because she's scared shitless. She has the traditional save system, so she can use typewriters, she can use item boxes. She has a much more limited inventory. That does grow, but compared to Leon, it is very much the classic, I gotta carry this to solve this puzzle, but that also compromises the amount of healing and weaponry I can have on me type of gameplay that is a really nice callback to the classic games. Leon is basically RE4 enhanced. He's got the briefcase system, essentially, with a huge bunch of room that you really don't run out of space with him, especially when you upgrade it. He's got tons of guns. He's got the much more versatility than even RE4. He's still got the ability to parry, but this time his knife doesn't break. It's a hatchet that wears out, and you just sharpen it back up, and bam, you're back in for some more melee combat. And the way that these 2 play off each other is that you get a Grace section that's really tense and elevated and kind of terrifying, and then Leon comes in and he's just able to just whoop ass. And then you go back to Grace, and it's a really great Steam release, so to speak. The pressure gets released when you get to switch to Leon and just go to town for a little while. And then you come back to Grace, and then you get back into that groove. And then it switches back and forth for a while until you get to the second half of the game where Leon takes full center stage, and he gets to explore Raccoon City and enter an incredibly rich, fan servicey environment just for him. And then there's a little bit more back and forth with Grace and Leon at the end, and there you go. The balance is really good. Leon's second half part might be a tad too long, honestly, in contrast, but it does keep a nice chain of things. And I would love to talk to you about that chain of things, but I'm going to keep it spoiler-free here, and I'll talk a little bit about it in the upcoming video that's going to rank stuff from the franchise. But I think that they did a great job remedying some of the complaints about RE2 Remake and RE4 Remake in some ways. There's a lot of great callbacks. It's a really fun roller coaster going through Leon's part of the game. That's his. And he controls like a dream. He's looser than I think he's ever been, but at the same time, that looseness really allows him to do so much more. And he's just got even more context-sensitive commands that he can do to fight enemies that have been stunned or knocked out. It's great. It's a lovely time playing this game. It feels really good. Bosses are fantastic, although most of them are a bit easier than I would have expected. Although I did play it on casual, I've heard that from other people playing it on higher difficulties. And that's honestly something that I feel is just a general complaint. You can't always get it right, and that's okay. I think that's really the biggest thing I've got beyond not being able to turn off the auto heal. How many times have I accidentally auto-healed myself when I did not need to? Too many. And that has been a consistent gripe among many people playing this game. It's like, why can't I get this off of my controller? You can't. It's just there. You're going to be stuck with an auto-heal somewhere. I do recommend changing the controls, at least on the PlayStation version, to moving the auto-heal from... R1 is your standard auto-heal. Horrible place for it. Put it at least up on the D-pad. That's my recommendation for you. You'll hit it a lot less. You'll still hit it when you're trying to change weapons, but at the very least, it's not as often when you pull up your gun. Because you accidentally tap it on mistake. The game is visually stunning. Like, just watching this environment for the last few minutes, I think really emphasizes how great this game looks. The RE engine is really flexing here. Like, look at this rain hitting the puddles and stuff. It's super well done. We've probably seen the same character models going back and forth for a bit, but I still think that, generally speaking, this game just looks fantastic. And it's just loaded with details. I think the character models for Grace and Leon and all of the other characters that are major are superb. I love Grace's outfit in this game with the jacket. Her jacket is super cool too, and it's a shame it gets ripped off of her so fast. But you can get it as a costume choice, which is how I'm going to play through this game again, is just leaving her with the jacket on, which is hilarious because the cutscene where you still lose it, but then you're still wearing it. It's absolutely iconic. But the monster design is great. The boss design's great. All the environments look fantastic. This is just a wonderful game. I already said high praise about the voice acting. I want to give another shout out, not just to Grace and Leon's voice actors, but to Victor Gideon's voice actor as well. He does a wonderful job with Victor and delivers a RE antagonist that is truly up there with some of the best that the series has ever had. Really well done, especially for one that has come in the wake of post-Wesker. in RE5. Really well done. And the music's really good too. I think this is my favorite music in any of the modern REs, outside of RE4 Remake, which is doing a lot with the classic soundtrack from RE4. But this, I think, is my favorite of the original games in quite a while. What else can I really say? I think that this game just feels good. It's a really wonderful time. I'm so happy that I got it at launch and got to experience it before everyone started talking about it and spoilering things. Being able to actually experience all of the twists and turns myself without any real spoiler was such a delight. And that is increasingly difficult in this increasingly clickbaity time that we find ourselves in. But I think that this is one of the best in the series. Where exactly? Well, the next episode of Levels Plus Whenever is going to address just that, and you'll find out what I think about Requiem in contrast to all of the Resident Evil games I have played in a week or two time. But for now, I think I will go ahead and call this review. Keep it a bit on the short side, and just say that I loved this game and really think that it is a marvelous time from start to finish. And I love Grace and Leon. I love their dynamic. I love how they're handled in this game. Really no major complaints. I think it's just wonderful. So it has the Levels Plus stamp of approval, I guess. I will see you in the very near future for the Resident Evil ranking episode. So that will probably be not too far after this, since this is a bit on the shorter side and that one is a bit on the longer side. So maybe we'll put those side by side. So by the time you see this, it might be the next day. We'll see. But I appreciate you tuning in, coming back to videos after the hiatus so I can work on my book. I will have some book updates and a separate video for you very soon. And of course, there is the post that I'm going to put in the description to check out if you want to know what's going on with all these book projects that knocked me out of video making for a while. But I hope that I'll be back in a regular swing of things for the rest of at least the summer. So, thank you so much, friends, and take care.